Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
It's Tuesday night, time for another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony Has Nine Fingers.
What is going on, people?
And Tony, would you like to introduce our special guests?
Sure. From the movie A Cold Grave. I don't know who you're going to.
A Cold Grave, yeah. You say who you're going to introduce, and I'll jump over.
I guess a returning guest, my buddy, Mr. Ben Newmark.
What's up, Ben?
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me back.
Yes,
yeah,
our
thank
pleasure.
you for coming on. And the director of A Cold Grave and part of the DBS Films. Brendan,
isn't he like
the owner?
He is DBS Films.
So running the
man,
DBS Films.
The myth, the legend is what it is. Yeah.
Brendan Rudnicki. Hopefully I said that right. Probably not, but
you got it right. I appreciate you guys having us on.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Thank you for coming on.
We had so I thought we had Brendan on before for the other movie, but I guess not. I thought
that was Tyler. He was my co-star in Forest of Death.
Okay, because Forest of Death I enjoyed quite a bit, and that was one of Brendan's movies as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed that quite a bit. And that I enjoyed this one as well, but that is also still available on Tubi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Forest of Death is on I think all platforms: Apple TV, Tubi, Amazon Prime, pretty much anywhere you can go to download stuff. Tubi is probably the preferred method since it's free.
Yeah, but you still get some money because people are watching ads and stuff, right? But it's free for people.
Correct.
Yeah. So I just watched A Cold Grave. I literally just finished it right before I sat down and whatever. So it's all fresh in my mind. But I really enjoyed this one as well. But I really recommend. I'm already forgetting the last movie's name.
Forest of Death.
I'm really because there was some really good twists and like some. Benjamin really knocked it out of the park in that movie. I thought as well. I thought your character was great. But I highly recommend checking out both. I think on Tubi you can, like, if you look up one of them, I think you can probably click on either Benjamin's name if you look at the cast, or maybe click on Brendan's name as a director, and you may be able to pull up all of the stuff that you would have up there. I think you can do that on Tubi. But I would recommend doing so, especially for the money. I mean, it's free. But yeah, it's both movies were a really good time, but we're here to talk about A Cold Grave mostly. So who wants to start with the maybe a quick synopsis without giving too much away of A Cold Grave?
Go ahead, Ben.
Okay. Well, you don't have to watch Forest of Death first, but if you're a fan of the character in A Cold Grave, definitely watch Forest of Death after. I do play the same character in both, just slightly skewed. So in Forest of Death, which was our campy nod to 80s classic horror films, we created Roger, a fun-loving redneck, and we enjoyed him so much we decided to give him his own film, which was A Cold Grave. Now, same character, a lot of similarities, much darker tone. A Cold Grave, we went with what would happen if you completely broke someone and let him go mad in the woods. So his sister goes missing. It's declared a cold case. He gets really hammered to open the movie and says, I'm going to go find her, and unravels this entire mystery of these haunted woods.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cool little twists, like it pays homage to a lot of found footage kind of stuff where
Yes.
there's witches in the woods, and there's like a lot of things like you don't know if what you saw is what it was, if it was real, if it was imaginary, or what. So there's a lot of black magic kind of stuff sprinkled in there as well. So there's a lot for people that are fans of the genre of found footage and just of horror in general, because there's some gore in there too, for sure. There's a good amount for people to check out. First off, Sergio is in the chat. He's saying hello, and Life is Pain is saying welcome back, Tony and Kevin. We took last week off. I was starting a new job this Monday, and so I was kind of like a fluster, kind of trying to get everything ready for work on Monday. So I was like, I need some time. So, but everything's going well. Yeah. So was this the intention with the character originally from the first movie? Was it like, okay, you killed it, we have to make a full length a feature just about this character?
I mean, that was pretty much the idea. But first, I want to thank you guys for having us on here. Indie, small budget stuff like ours, visibility is always very difficult for us. So like these podcasts that we do, honestly, are the best way to kind of spread the word and just try and find a fan. Thanks for the watch. Each watch means so much to us. So it's really good to be here. And I appreciate you guys promoting Ben and Forced Death, which is basically what kind of spun this movie off. When we did Forced Death, I just wanted to kind of make a homage to 70s and 80s horror. I'm an old school horror guy. The Thing is my favorite movie. I wanted to do a shapeshifter movie. And that's kind of like where we wanted a campy, fun movie. That's where Forced Death came in. Fortunate enough to meet Ben, came in there and absolutely killed it. Forced Death had 6 million views, I think now, on just various platforms. So it did extremely well. And basically, we released it and really started to pick up during Thanksgiving and Christmas. And I was kind of texting Ben and saying, hey, let's try and do another one. I really want to just do a one-man movie. Let's see how cheap we can make a movie. Can I take one character and put him in the woods and just have bad things happen to him? And that's pretty much what we got with this movie. Very limited cast, very low budget, but he carries the movie himself, and I think it's entertaining enough to have bad things go wrong. You kind of see our inspiration with Mandy and the time loop movies, which is kind of cool. But basically, I told him right off the bat, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't know if you can make a movie like where our only expense was cigarettes. I really had no idea that this was going to actually be able to be uploaded and be able to be distributed across platforms. And here we are, pretty much a year later. The movie is 100% certified on Rotten Tomatoes. It's our highest rated movie so far. And it's gotten so much publicity and press, and it's opened up a whole bunch of doors for us that I couldn't be, more happy for a movie that we're just kind of like, hey, this is a cool idea. You want to go shoot it? Yeah, let's try it.
That's amazing. Real quick, Life is Pain is just commenting that the movie sounds awesome. He will check them out for sure. Congrats on the views. He's over in the UK. So it's very early in the morning for him right now.
I love my UK friends.
Yes. Me and my wife are hopefully going to go to the UK for our 10-year wedding anniversary this year. So fingers crossed.
If you're in the United Kingdom, you can currently watch Attack of the Meth Gattor from the Asylum Films. It's not available here, but it's absolutely crushing in the United Kingdom.
Oh, the Meth Gattor one?
Yeah. It's been released in the UK for a couple of weeks now.
Oh, Attack of the Meth Gattor. Life is Pain. You should check that out. He's in that one. But it was released by Asylum over there, right? Is it Asylum here too?
Yeah, it's the guys who make Sharknado. It's not just me in that, but the opening prologue of the film is me and Stuart Maxheimer, who was also in A Cold Grave. So a week apart from each other, we did 2 major films, and in both I got to kick his ass.
Yeah. And he's just saying, sounds like I'll be watching a lot this week. So yeah, here you go. And Sergio's asking if we have a trailer. We do have a trailer. We'll play it like normal, like midway through the show. And Wolfie's 13th Wolfman. He's a member of the show. He comes on from time to time. Hey guys, Force of Death was awesome. Was an awesome film. Did have that 70s atmosphere film feel to it. I heard that this movie was cast over Discord. So is that the case for Forest of Death? Was that cast over Discord?
Well, that was Forest of Death had what Brendan and DBS does. They make films for their fans with their fans.
Oh,
So Forest of Death, they cast a role from their community, their Discord community, TikTok community, which was Howard Hawkins, Ares. And he played Officer Hawk in that. And he was awesome. He was amazing in it. You wouldn't know he wasn't a trained actor. So what eventually happened between the time of Forest of Death and A Cold Grave was Brendan quadrupled down on that, the gambler he is, and decided A Cold Grave should only be cast from the Discord. And he should only give the opportunities to true horror fans and true DBS fans.
yeah.
So what you'll see in A Cold Grave is, aside from myself and Stu, which was the one actor I requested, so, you know, made me feel better having someone who was trained, which turns out didn't make a difference. You don't need training to be a really great actor.
Yeah,
because you watch the movie,
in general,
most of those
everyone killed
most
it.
of those people, that's their first role. That's their
Wow.
first time on camera. And especially, you know, there's a Ouija board scene that, if you've seen it, is phenomenal. There's an opening scene that has some crazy effects in it, but even the prosthetics and the effects, most of that was their first time at it. And, you know, Brendan and Kellen are big believers that there's so much talent and there's so many people that they can compensate training with passion and love and experience of watching, that they can bring that through on camera. And they absolutely did. Because this true story is, when, you know, we're going to do a Roger film, it's my first time that someone's been doing this for 20 years to finally get that kind of exposure. So I was like, hey, let's not do that for this one. Save that for the next one. Save that for somebody, you know, who's a young up-and-comer, not the guy who's almost washed out. Let's not do that. And when you watch the final product, I was completely wrong. Because the performance that Ray gives, that Mike gives, that Kaylee gives, that Tatum gives, that everyone delivered in such a big, bad way that, you know, would a trained actor done a better job in the middle of the woods in freezing temperatures and harsh conditions? Or would they have said, oh my God, I can't do this because I need to be on a stage? Would they have turned soft? Would they have ran away? Would they have been demanding too much? There's that enthusiasm that sometimes it's better than having training, just that love of being out there.
Yeah.
And being able to be on set and watch them, you know, have this love and this joy and put it through on camera, especially watching Ray deliver that entire monologue and just how much he just owned it. And now he is getting a lot of work as an actor. So again, I was wrong. Make movies for your fans with your fans. DBS motto, and it keeps it. God, it was just such a good idea.
Like, I think Discord might be the way to go, like, as opposed to like Facebook and Instagram, because those are definitely more easily, like, you have to kind of know what you're doing on Discord. It's not something that it's not as like user friendly, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if anyone disagrees with me, but it's not something where it's like easily as point and click as like Facebook and Instagram. So
I can't figure out Discord for the life of me.
I'm in the same boat. It's just like, you know, so the people that are following DBS films and stuff like that and fans of the films, they know what's up. So it's not like you're just gonna get some dude who loves all your films that just he doesn't have any inkling to act or whatever.
No, that's also kind of the meta approach to the movie, because a lot of the DBS fans, what you find out, is they're not just fans of the movie, they're fans of the process of the movie. Mm-hmm. When Brendan announces what his next film is going to be, the entire community is going to be a part of that, because they know once the title comes out, once the synopsis comes out, he's going to open it up to casting. And not just casting, he's going to probably open it up to makeup, special effects, maybe stunts. Who knows where he's going to open it up to, but he's going to go through his community, and that's where he's going to find it. So everyone is in that process. They're going to submit their auditions. And, you know, out of 7,000 people, a handful will get it, but everyone else will support them. And then he's going to bring you on the making of the movie process. There's a lot of behind the scenes. There's even some spoilers, which again, kind of annoying, but whatever. So you get to see the process of making the movie. And someone like me, I'm incredibly interactive on there when I can be. So there's times where we'll do a live stream from the set. The opening scene of A Cold Grave, Kellen was broadcasting on TikTok. So from the beginning to the middle, you're involved. The editing parts, they'll start putting out little pictures on there. They'll start doing little teases. And then when the movie comes out, the first people to get to watch any cut of the film is the Discord. That is the premiere. It is on the Discord, and it's free to the people that are super fans. They get to watch the entire process from beginning to end, and then it's their feedback that helps cultivate the final version of the movie. So it's not just the film. It is really the entire community. It's the entire process. That's what you're a fan of. You're a fan of DBS. You're a fan of everything they stand for, what they're working for. And yeah, I hope they like the movie too.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to work with your fans. That's awesome. I mean, there's other people out there that, you know, other production companies that work with their fans as well, but it's definitely not as personal.
It's more through like Indiegogo and stuff like that,
right.
where you get like perks and stuff, which is
I was thinking even more so like on like with Trauma, where it's just like, all right, you're a background person in this giant field of people, you know? It's still cool. It's still cool, but at the same time, it's different. This is a smaller production kind of deal, but it's more intimate, and it's a different genre of movie altogether. You know, it's still in the same subgenre, I guess, or same genre, different subgenre is what I switched it. Sergio's asking you saw the Super Bowl. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I didn't, but yeah.
But this is like grassroots, like as grassroots can get kind of deal, where it's like, let's bring the community in, and that's a good way to just like grow it from there, because then it's like, okay, someone does get a part, they're like, hey, listen, if you're into a horror movie, definitely jump into here, and it just grows from there. So I think that's a really good way to, you know, go at it.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Have you done that? Like, how long has DBS been in existence?
Well, DBS started the film aspect of the company in 2018. So we have about the first 8 movies that we did. We coined them the Hateful Eight because they were just us trying to figure out what we're doing, how to make a movie. And it's a very difficult process. I mean, I'll give anyone who makes a movie so much credit, because you just don't understand how difficult it is to take the idea in your head, make a script, and then you get a really good product out there. I think that every movie that you finalize and is able to upload is a small miracle. And so the first 8, and all these are all online. You can go back and you could, see my IMDb or the company's IMDb and go back and look at them. And I think the cool thing with that is you kind of see our progress, where we're starting out, like there's pacing issues, there's sound issues, there's picture issues, but with each one we kind of get better and better and better. And then unfortunately we had COVID happen, and that gave me a year off. We couldn't really shoot anything. So we kind of, took a step back. I kind of looked at the 8 movies and I was like, all right, like, how are we going to get better? Because the production wasn't there. It took a long time to release these movies. It just wasn't a business. It couldn't sustain itself. COVID gave us an opportunity to sit back and kind of, learn from our mistakes. And we shot a movie called Girl in Cabin 13. This was our 9th movie. And Tubi licensed this movie, and it just went nuts. It has probably over 10 million views. I don't have the exact number, but it was the number 1 movie on Tubi 2 or 3 years ago. And we also had TikTok at that time, and it kind of blew up as well. And that really kind of started, like people were watching these movies for the first time. They're like, hey, this isn't bad, or I like this, or, like positive feedback, which is really kind of rewarding because, we put all this effort into these movies and now we're starting to get somewhere. So, it's a quality product that people are starting to react to. And for indie filmmakers, getting feedback is the most important thing. You can't get better without feedback. And we had 10 million people, 1-starring us and telling us what's wrong with the movie. But that to me got me super excited that people are watching the film. Yeah. And so basically my brother came up with the idea to start Discord, and we started the Discord, and it turns out there's a lot of people who love horror movies, who are filmmakers, and who also just want to be a part of the process. Like Ben said, they just want to be a part of the process. So we kind of started, cultivating them in the Discord and just building up this community. And really this movie, Force of Death, was the first one. We needed a cop, and that was Howard Hawkins got that role. And then with each movie, we've added more and more roles. Last year, we shot 4 movies. We had, I think, 60 or 70 people from the Discord in all these movies. So we have a lot of people. And the the ranges of the roles, like you said, background actors in some of them, and then some of them have full speaking roles. Tatum, who was in A Cold Grave at playing Roger's sister, was from the Discord, and she just needed an opportunity. She did a great job in this movie, and we have a Bigfoot movie coming out probably next month or month and a half, and she's a star in that one. And,
Nice.
this is somebody who's going to get 10 million views across all these platforms, and they just need an opportunity. And that's kind of like our motto is like, I'd rather work with people who are horror fans, who I know are passionate, who I know are going to come on here and not only enjoy themselves and savor the opportunity, but they're going to give it their all. And you can kind of see that with all the actors that we have in here. I'd much rather give a horror fan or a new actor a shot than, someone's going to come in here and just get a paycheck and walk off set and, complain the whole time. And the model's been very successful. Our movies have gotten better with each one. We found unbelievable actors like Benjamin. And, we're just continually moving forward with this model. As we grow, our community grows. And there's just a lot of people out there who like to see a lot of movies made. You can see our progress with each one. We're very open to feedback. Like Ben said, you can be on the Discord to get feedback. I'm very active on Facebook, on Reddit. Our goal is to just get better. So we're very open to feedback. We're very open to discussing movies with other horror fans, because I grew up on horror. I love it. And, I couldn't be happier to be able to just kind of make my own movies and, continue this journey.
Yeah, and actually,
sounds like a young Adam Green. Adam Green is one of those
he's really good, man. He's really good.
Whenever you see him in like special features, he's like, I'm just a horror fan that grew up and finally made movies for myself, kind of deal. And it's like, sometimes people are just
guy too. He's
exactly. I still have yet to meet him, but I heard really good things.
He's a very nice guy.
So it's one of those things where sometimes you hear like directors get a horror movie and they're like, okay, I'm just doing this. Well, we've had people on here, nothing against them, but we've had people come on and it's like, oh, do you like horror? They're like, not really. I kind of jumped into this opportunity kind of deal. And it's just like, but then you get other people that are like, I grew up with horror. This is what I wanted to do. So you get a little bit of both. But it's definitely good to hear, you're doing it for the right reasons.
What's funny about that as an actor, when I first started, I wouldn't do horror movies.
Oh, really?
Just because I didn't think it was good for my career. I did a lot of art films, a lot of stage work. And Brent and I were talking about this the other day. No one cared. No one watched any of them. Even now, I've done a few more of the artistic films, more of the dramatic stuff. No one cares. And I don't know if that's because I wasn't as passionate for it. I definitely didn't go on podcasts to talk about them. I did them when I was really proud of my work, but I grew up on horror.
The fan base is different. Like this
is the one where I feel like when I speak, I'm talking to myself. Like I'm doing this for 10-year-old me, for 6-year-old me, for 13-year-old me. I'm doing this for the one that went to Blockbuster and first discovered Friday the 13th, or Sleepaway Camp, and Halloween, and all the movies that I grew up on, where I found my little community. Like I found my nerdy friends that we could talk wrestling and horror movies. But when it became time to be a professional, it felt like that wasn't something I could do. As it turns out, that's what I should have been doing the entire time, because no one cared.
There was a pretty bad stigma for a long time in the industry about
it really was
one step above porn. In some instances, they made
maybe a step below it sometimes.
Yeah. That's why like a lot of like the classics came out as rated X. Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out as rated X. There's no blood, there's no nudity in that movie. But it's rated X, whatever. But it's my favorite horror movie, by the way.
You're gonna like the next DBS film.
Okay,
comes
good.
Out this summer.
Good. Just real quick, because you kind of touched on it. 13th Wolfman wanted to mention that he's seen 4 of the 8 films, and you can see the growth over time for sure. So that's awesome, and we're a big fan of that as well. Like I love to see like a movie that I absolutely adore, but I want to see their first movie, and I want to see like where do they start? Because like that's the thing is it's like we all start from somewhere, so I want to see someone who's like been able to like blow my socks off with something, and I want to see their first movie to see where they started and like how it progressed. So I'm gonna have to check those other ones out for sure. And then Life is Pain is asking how Benjamin became part of the DBS, like how he was cast in his first.
I got very lucky. I saw a casting call and I submitted for one of the lead roles in what was called Shapeshifter, which became Forest of Death. And I gave a really awful audition, and I auditioned for the second lead, and there was an even worse audition. And I got no response. It was that bad. And then I emailed Brendan and I said, hey, I'm this person and I've auditioned for these two leads and I apologize, they were bad. And there's this other character, Roger, that at the time he was looking for an older guy, more of that gas station attendant from Friday the 13th, that crazy character. Yeah. And I said, I'm wrong look-wise for this character, but I know this character. Like, I know what you're going for. Can I read for this? And in very Brendan fashion, I got a short response of like, go for it. Because if you ever give him any kind of idea, he's just going to say, go for it. Let's see what happens. Which is sometimes good, and sometimes I just go on tangents. But he let me read for that, and he called me back that same night, and he set up a formal audition. And again, super lucky. My kids were being loud. I had to go out in the balcony. And the only thing I had were these mosquito lights. So when I lit it, it looked like the fire camp scene from Forest of Death. And because I grew up with that character, I knew his voice, I knew his mannerisms, I knew it. So when we did that first audition, it was kind of a caricature of that. It wasn't the Roger that eventually became on screen, but it was that. Like, you could see it was something there, and we just connected. We both loved the thing, both Kurt Russell fans. We both knew where we wanted to go. I understood what he was going for of its camp, but you have to treat it seriously. Right. And you can't play the joke. Like, it has to be real. And if something, funny comes out of it, which Roger does, so be it. And then from that point on, he's been my texting buddy about horror movies ever since then. And we've gone on to do 3 films together. Probably going to do more. But it started as just a really bad, embarrassingly bad audition. I hope never sees the light of day. And
you got to put it on
apologizing for how bad it was.
Feature.
Yeah, Brendan,
it was the role that went to Tyler, and Tyler killed it. He deserves that role. It's for a tall, good-looking leading man who can do tall, good-looking leading man things. And I can grow a beard and be grungy and on Moonshot. I do that really well. That leading man stuff, not so much.
I don't know. It's funny. Like, that would be cool to see those auditions. Like, I mean, I know it's not cool for you, but sometimes you see auditions, you're like, wow, like, just to see like other people's takes on things. Like, you saw other people like auditioning to be like Marty McFly. It's like, oh, that would have been a completely different movie if that person got that role, So, I mean, that would be interesting, but I get where you're coming from. You'd be like, no, don't see.
Well, it was so bad. I didn't get a response. It was that bad.
So
it was so bad. I got nothing. Not even like a no, but thank you. It was just like a no.
You know what you did. You're not getting a response. Yeah.
But, I know.
I want to play the trailer real quick because we're up at the halfway point. So Sergio, don't go to the bathroom yet. He always goes to the bathroom when I play trailers. But so here's the trailer for A Cold Grave, which is now streaming on Tubi and multiple other places. But yeah, we'll be right back. It's about a minute and 4. It's a minute and 4 seconds. We'll be right back.
I'm trying to piece this together. A month ago, 3 hikers got in the woods. Charles, Eli, and Kaylee. And they're missing. That's Kaylee. She's my sister. And she's missing. She's still missing. I come to find out, police officer going to declare this a cold case. No! We ain't done! I ain't done! She's missing! Someone needs to find her. But here's what we're gonna do, huh? I'll bring you with me. I'm gonna give you a real story.
There we go. There's the
Sure, it's
trailer.
like a pretty good movie.
Oh yeah. The lead guy there looks like he can act his balls off. I tell you.
That minute-long trailer gave me enough time to find.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
My copy of Girl in Cabin 13.
I
My
appreciate
second
it.
favorite Stuart Maxheimer movie.
So the one thing I must say about this, because you kind of, like you said, played Roger, who the two movies kind of differ from a little, but it reminded me of like X and Pearl, where it's like, okay, one movie you see him in it, and then it's like, okay, now I want to see where he came from. So it kind of feels like that with A Cold Grave, where it's like, I wonder where he kind of got messed up, or maybe it was a prequel kind of deal. I mean, it probably, didn't go, but it flowed like that, where it's like you watched X and you're like, I want to see what this character, like where it came from. And then so that's my mind.
I think that we may have brought that up. Like, I think when he was on for the other movie, I think we said like, I want to see more about this character. Like, I want to see where he came from. I think we brought that up.
I think that's why A Cold Grave exists, is because a lot of people wanted more Roger, it's still kind of blowing my mind that happened. Because again, 20-something years of performing, that's never happened. Like, most people don't care about what I do, but with Roger, people really seem to care.
It was just a different character than anything else. Like, it was like in the movie, it was just so different. And like the way that you approached it was completely like just that. And it was like, I don't know. It just was a fresh take on if that character wasn't in the movie. I mean, I'm sure I would have liked it. I don't know if I would have liked it as much, honestly.
Well, I think the trick was it didn't come from a place of trying to be humorous or silly. It really did come from a place where we didn't want to offend anybody. We wanted to pay homage. We wanted to share how much love we have for these characters with that character. But even with A Cold Grave, there's some reviews that said you ripped off this, you ripped off that. No, it's not ripping off.
Right.
We're doing the things we love.
Right.
We're doing the things in movies that we've loved. We're just doing it our way with our character and our people. But yeah, there's always similarities in movies because you recreate the things that you know and the things that you love. Like, I keep pitching them on a Force of Death sequel that opens directly ripping off the Blues Brothers because I love the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
There's parts of A Cold Grave where you can see the inspiration from a character because I loved it. Like, not to give away the ending, but if you're a Watchmen fan, so am I.
Yeah.
I love a Watchmen. I love the comic. I love the movie. I love Rorschach. In fact, my entire look is because I love Kurt Russell in The Thing, hence the beard and the hair. So it's not a ripoff. It's an homage. It's sharing the things that we love. That was the whole goal, was to spread exactly what we enjoy, what we like, what we want to see, and then putting it out in the world.
Yeah. It's so Life is Pain real quick. He's just saying that the movie looks messed up and effing awesome. So there you go. And Sergio says that he saw it. So that's good.
Thank you for watching.
After your Watchmen stuff and Life is Pain, he's saying, hell yeah. I actually, there's a band that I was really into in the 90s, and they have some songs about the Watchmen, and they're like a kind of like a techno-y band, and I recently started getting back into them. And they have a lot of songs about comic books, and a lot of them about the Watchmen. They're called Populate Itself. I don't know if you ever heard of them.
When you're an artist, you're inspired by the things you love. Like,
right.
Clearly, if you're a wrestling fan, you know where a lot of Roger comes from. If you're a horror movie fan, you know where a lot of Roger comes from. Like, you can get inside my brain and find a lot of the inspirations just from, if you know something, you'll see it. Also, if you're a fan of kidnapping and murder mysteries and all kinds of traumatic events where people go missing and turn up dead, you'll see where Brendan's inspiration comes from for making such dark and twisted films.
Yeah. With the mystery and stuff, it just made me think of this. And with The Thing, a friend of mine recently shared a photo. He was reading a Columbo comic book, but it was Columbo with The Thing. Like, it was like he was talking to Kurt Russell.
That's a thing?
Yeah. It was like he was there. I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, what is he asking? Like, where did Wilford Brimley's mustache go? Like, what is he asking? Like, I didn't understand like why Columbo would be there, but
I wish I could still do a Columbo impression.
Yeah, excuse me, sir. Like that. That's the only thing I got.
Let me ask you a question. Now you got a thing, right? So thing, let me ask you. Where
is Wilford Brimley's mustache? Yeah. Did he eat it?
I used to do that a lot better.
Yeah. Things change as you get older. I should do a mean Leon Redbone, let me tell you. A lot of people don't even know who Leon Redbone is. But he sang the theme song to Mr. Belvedere. And he also did he did the Stain Lifter That's All commercials back in the day.
But that's so random. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I don't do it so much anymore. But anyways.
But it's funny to hear that, people are saying like, it's like, I guess people don't realize like they're not happy enough with like remakes and stuff. Like some people love them, some people hate them, but it's like, you don't know what an homage is. It's like, okay, you can throw it. It's like, it just brings up what you like about certain movies. It's like you can't tell the difference, because watching this, you mentioned a few movies, but the whole time through my mind, I'm like, this has a Blair Witch feel to it, even though the plot is a little bit different. It's like in the middle of the woods looking for people. I'm like, it brings me back to like that. So hearing like Mandy and stuff, as you mentioned stuff, it's funny how subjective movies are, because what one person sees in it could be completely different from what it was meant to be.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes the horror genre so cool, though, is that you can have like just the segments of the horror fans are completely opposite. Some people love Blair Witch, and that thing is just it's its own beast. The people who are able to see that in movie theaters, it's just phenomenal what happened, with that movie and the marketing, and people thought it was real. You get people who don't like Blair Witch. You have Skinamarink, which was a huge indie movie that came out. Outwaters is another one. You look at those reviews, there's people that love those movies. There's people that hate those movies. Yep. And it's always funny when you release a horror movie, because they're always like, well, on the IMDb ratings, they're going to knock you down a peg for just being a horror movie, because there's people who are like, I love this. This is great. And the other people are like, this didn't scare me. 1 star. We get a lot of those. And then if it's found footage, you knock it down another 1 star, because people, they just don't like found footage. It's a very small, but very passionate subgenre. But to me, that's interesting that whatever, can capture and make people scared. They're scared by different things. I think that's like Skinamarink is a great example where you have people who, if you can remember when you were left alone in a house by yourself as a child, and that's what that movie kind of invokes. Those people are terrified from it. And then you have a whole bunch of other people who are like, what is this? Is this an hour of a wall?
Noise. Yeah.
White noise in the wall.
I loved it. And it's unfortunate, but sometimes Jamie Hill, who played the mom in Skinamarink, she'll be in the chat sometimes, because we've had her on. We had her on for Skinamarink. She's very nice. She's in Canada. She's always willing to work. I'm just going to throw it out there.
I think she's in our Discord. I think we've talked to them before. Yeah.
She's
really cool people.
Super nice. And I saw the movie when we were having her on, and then I went to see it in the theater. I liked it when I saw it at home. I liked it even more when I saw it in the theater. And it was the closest experience I had to Blair Witch in the theater. Like, it was a packed theater, completely silent. Like, no one was talking. It was like completely silent. And like, when there was like some scares, I saw popcorn go flying, stuff like that. Like, people were like legit jumped. And at the end of it, people were like, I don't know if I loved it or I hated it. And I'm like, so tell me the differences. Like, what do you think? He's like, they're just like, I just don't know. I'm like, that's what their intent was. So they were able to pull off what they were intending. They're like, oh, then I guess I have to love it then. I'm like, yeah, I guess. But the 13th Wolfman, who was in the chat, he hates Blair Witch. Like he's got a really good taste in horror. Like, he knows a lot. We used to call him the Encyclopedia of Horror. But he knows a lot of like details and stuff like that. He hates Blair Witch. I absolutely adored it when I saw it in the theater. And again, sold out theater, completely silent, and
even when the thing is, I think
completely silent. People are like, well, what did I just see? You know, it's rare for those occurrences, but yeah.
I think Blair Witch was like a perfect movie for the perfect time. Because if it was made, say, in the 2000s, it would have got spoiled. It would have got whatever. Like, it fell right into a perfect time where, like, the internet was in its infancy. So you had the inklings. Is this real? Is it not? I mean, at that point in time, the only time you realize that the people were still alive is when they started doing the, like, night show rounds where it's like, okay,
Well,
these people
TRL, and they ruined it for me.
Exactly. It's like, okay.
He happened to be in the audience for a taping of Late Night with Jay Leno, and he pointed them out in the audience. I'm like, wait a minute, like, how were they there? I thought they were all dead. Like, and I was like, oh man, movie magic.
Yeah, I mean, it's wild to just see that spawned a whole genre of films with the found footage, and it just was an experience. And I think, as far as like Skinamarink and Outwaters, as long as you can make an audience think, whether you hated a movie or you loved it, they watched it and they had some kind of emotion. And that's what we're just trying to do. We're trying to, get a response to something. If someone watches a movie and there's no response, then, I think you have to work on upping your game, especially with horror. It can be very polarizing, but I think that's the fun of it.
Yeah. And like with movies like Skinamarink, it's because you don't really know what's going on. Your mind starts playing tricks with you because of all the noise and all like the static. You start to think you're seeing things. Like if you're really paying attention, like I told my friend when he was going to watch it, I was like, take your cell phone and put it in another room. Like don't be in a completely dark room and just put your cell phone somewhere else. Like no distractions and just pay attention. And like your mind will just start messing with you. And
what did you guys think of A Cold Grave?
I absolutely loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. Life is Painted real quick, just saying he was born in 96. From a young age, my mom would always tell me how the people from the Blair Witch got killed, etc. It was a found footage. It's fantastic. I love it. Paranormal Activity. He's also saying Paranormal Activity with Blair Witch. The good thing is that, oh geez, what happened? Oh, Tony dropped out. I don't know.
He kind of A Cold Grave, and he's like, "Oh, screw it."
No, back. It just happens sometimes. But for A Cold Grave, I really enjoyed it quite a bit. That's why I want people to check out both movies. I want them to check out the other one where we're introduced to the character, and this one. I already forgot the other name because I'm
Forest of Death.
Forest of Death. I'm sorry. I'm horrible.
Or as I've seen people referring to it as just the Roger movies.
The Roger movie,
which I have no problem with. I think that's great. Keep calling them the Roger movies. I'm totally cool with that. It in no way inflates my ego.
Yeah. Well, this one is literally the Roger movie, A Cold Grave. But it's I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was great. You were able to do quite a bit with very little. It's a found footage movie. It was very convincing. The gore was there. If people are gore hounds, which some people are, there's gore there. I'm not necessarily.
And it's one of those things where it's not like implied, because sometimes too to be what lack of or whatever, like sometimes it's like, okay, here's something, you think something happens and there's a splat. This one's like all up in your face. I was like, oh, okay. That one was pretty interesting. And then but my internet cut out. But I must say that the one thing too I like is like it throws you for some loops sometimes. It's like, okay, you think something's gonna happen, and then it's like, oh no, that didn't go the way I planned or whatever. So I definitely dug it for sure.
Yeah, and stay to the very end. Like watch till you actually start seeing credits, and like watch all the way through. Because don't be like, oh, hooray, this.
It's the DBS version of a post-credits scene.
Yeah.
Except credits haven't rolled yet.
Yeah. So definitely watch till the very end. When you think it's ended, just make sure. But yeah, it's I enjoyed it a lot. So it's one of those ones that people are always asking me for recommendations on stuff. And there's if they don't like, depending on what streaming services they have, like if they have Shudder, there's certain things I'll direct them towards. If they if they have whatever, I'm like, but everyone's got Tubi, so I can send anyone that direction, And hopefully we'll see some more either of that character or maybe something similar.
Well, the trick to that character and working with Brendan is that he's not just a great editor of a film, he's a great editor of content. Because believe it or not, every dialogue that I had in that film was improvised.
Oh, wow.
We did a lot of pre-production, and we came into shooting with a fishbone of an idea, but every word Roger says was improvised. And the way that works is you have to have someone that you trust, can think on their feet, and can basically play that acting game along with you, which I get with Brendan, where, we're doing a scene, and I come in with, 2 months of pre-production. I kept a journal of Roger for about 30 days. I put myself into that character, so wherever he was, I could improvise whatever he was feeling, where we were going, where the story had to get to. But along with that was, hey, we're making a movie, so you can't just go on a 7-minute monologue about growing up. Mm-hmm. So he would be able to edit me on the spot. So I would do something, and he'd say, hey, I like this, I like this. Can you remove this? Where are you going with this? Oh, it just sounded good. Mm-hmm. Okay, go again. Okay, that was good. Rambling, can you get it down to a minute? Okay, we'll do it again. All right, one more time. You remove this. I like that line you said the last time. Throw that in there. And before you know it, we're making a movie. While we have an idea, we're almost writing it as we go through improvisation. And then when we get to the editing, he's still improvising the editing. Because what ended up being put out there, he also just took a lot of scenes and said, screw it, go here. Go here. And then we started doing some reshoots to fix that timeline. But a lot of the way he screwed with time in that movie and messed with people's head was him looking at a movie and going, I can do better. Or let me just try this. Let me try this. Let's go with this. And that's one of the things that works well. So we did a third film together coming out this summer, which is currently called Girl in Cabin 14 till he gets a better title. But we did the exact same thing. When he cast me in that, I play a totally different character, bleach blonde hair, in a suit. And, when we're in pre-production, he's doing all the Zoom meetings and the rehearsals. The script keeps changing as they're tweaking it, except for my stuff. It all stays the same because his theory is, screw it, he's going to say whatever the hell he wants anyway, and we'll just do it that way. And even when I got there with other actors who have rehearsed and know their lines and do all the things that we're supposed to do as actors, basically he tells them, hey, just throw it out the window and just see what happens. And the moment I got there was, hey, what are you going to do? I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Great. Action. And that's how we worked was when you do the pre-production, you develop a character and you build it and you work with people you trust and you just go for it, which is why a lot of Nick Cage seems to come out of me. But that character was very similar, totally different, no redneck. A lot more of the New Yorker and LA in me came out in that guy. But it was still that same, I've got an idea. I know where we have to get to. I know what I want to do. He's going to edit me on the spot. Good, bad, whatever. We're going to make it work. We're going to do it. And we did it again. So it's not the same character, but it's the same method. So if you like Roger, you're probably also going to like Kevin when you meet him in Girl in Cabin 14 until it gets a better title.
The first Kevin that's anyone's ever liked.
Because everybody hates Kevin here.
That's right. Because Kevin is the worst. I have pins and I have the T-shirt to prove it. That's
the one thing. I mean, it's a different genre, but you always see like in comedy movies, the best part is the improvisation, where you get like the bigger actors, where it's just like, go ahead and do it. We'll figure it out. And then usually it's like whatever came up in their head is the best part of the movie. It's like how many like gag reels do you see where they have like 15, 16 different things that they ramble off, and each one's just as funny, but they're like, let's just stick with one and go with it. So sometimes that's like
the joy of working with Brendan is I was trained by Upright Citizens Brigade. Ooh. Most of my career was an artistic dramatic actor. I've never really bridged those two successfully because you need a good director. You need a good team behind you to make that work. Where some directors, you got to stay on the point, you got to stay on the word, you have to have inflect here. Okay, I can do that. And then some directors like, just do it and we'll figure it out. And that's not great because I'll ramble and just not shut up and do whatever the hell I want. And then you've got a crappy movie. But when you have someone like Brendan, who he doesn't care about hurting my feelings because he's aware I have none, he can just throw it out there. That wasn't good.
In the first movie, you hurt your last feeling. So he knows that. You have none left.
But he found that way to marry those two things that, you take the classically trained actor, the improv actor, and you mash them together, and that was where Roger came from.
Nice. Well,
so question for Brendan, like, for anybody that's looking to, start making films and stuff, from your first 8 films to your last couple, what's the biggest thing that you learned? Like you said, the first 8 were kind of making them and making, errors or whatever. Like, what was the biggest thing you learned from the beginning to now?
Spent a lot of time in pre-production. Like Benjamin said, like one of the reasons I like working with Ben is because he understands that character, and it's much easier to work with him because we have a similar language, which is horror movies. And I can say, hey, you got to be the gas station harbinger. Like, this is what we want to do. And he's like, all right, let's do this. I'm like, hey, I want Nick Cage. I want Mandy. I want Kurt Russell. This is what we're trying to do with this movie. For the Girl in Cabin 14, I was like, hey, you got to play Ari Gold from Entourage. Let's go. And he knows exactly that. He starts studying those characters, and it's easy for me to do it. And really just, if you have all your actors understand all this stuff, the sooner you can get on the same page with them, because once again, it is so difficult to take the idea that you have in your head, get it on a piece of paper, and then also speak the same language to all your actors so they understand what they're trying to do. And I do think the one thing, if you look at our first 8 movies, the dialogue, the pacing, everything's very robotic because I made them stick to the script. I'm the director. They have to read word for word. I wrote this stuff. They have to sit by it. And that's not how horror is made, or at least I don't have very much success with that. The minute I started shifting towards focusing more on pre-production, making sure the actors understand what character they're trying to play, and then basically putting them in a situation. Horror is very close to like what you said with comedy. It's, I could sit here and write a script about how I would react in this situation, but that's not how other people would react to that situation. So having them improv, and you'll hear me most of the time now on our sets, they'll be like, but the script says this, and I'll say, throw the script out. We don't need the script. We want to make an improv. My goal is to take these actors and have them create a character, or have them play themselves even, and put them in a situation where bad things happen. And, we see what it is. Horror is so reactionary. You need the genuine fear. It's very, very hard to act scared unless you really put yourself into that mindset, into that mode, and really kind of react to that. And I can sit here and try and write this all day long, but it's not going to happen because everyone's different. Everyone's unique. So really, the change, I think, has been trusting the actors more, doing more pre-production, and trying to basically get my vision understood. The quicker I can get them on the same level and of the idea that I have, the better. But really just leaning into the improv and the horror aspect of it. I think our acting has been so much better, especially the last couple of movies. And I think it shows just with this process.
And that's what they say sometimes. Like some of the people that we had on, it's like they get into a persona or like a character, and it's just them like dialed up like to 10. So sometimes I'm sure if you're like reading something and it doesn't feel like them, if you're reading a script and you're like, I wouldn't say something like that, or I wouldn't do something like that. So if you give them that opportunity to kind of just take what they know and go with it, but of course you have to rate it back sometimes. I'm sure that'll ease them up a little bit, and then it'll come out in, like you said, the last couple movies, I thought the acting was really good. It just felt like it flowed. And I think it was really done really good.
Yeah. So we got to start wrapping up. Sergio's asking where you can see the movie. It's on Tubi. It's on multiple places. I have the Tubi link in the actual description. So if you click on the show description and everything, it's in there. So let's start with Brendan. Where can people go to interact with you the most? I know you're very active on a lot of places, but If you want to just give your info, so maybe you get some new Discord people in there, and
Yeah, I mean, you go dbsfilms.com, you Google us, all our social media stuff comes up. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. Very easy to find. All our movies are on pretty much all major streaming platforms. Like I said, go back and kind of look at our journey. We're getting a lot of people now who are like, hey, your DBS Films, I like that you release a lot of these movies. We can see your progress. We're trying to not only work with our community through the Discord, but get people, horror fans in these movies. So if you ever want to be an actor, if you want to be behind the camera, if you're interested just in the filmmaking process, come and hang out. We're very active on Facebook. We're very active on Reddit. Part of the reason I do this is because I love indie horror. I love indie filmmakers. All I watch now is indie movies on Tubi. And I think that, if you want to get away from these Hollywood remakes that they just continually churn out, the real talent is with the indie filmmakers. And low budget movies, it's an acquired taste. Some of them, just not going to have the special effects or the stuff in there. But to me, that's what makes them like special. They're kind of like, I can see what they're trying to do. They're very limited. And, anything I could do to help them out, to really elevate other horror directors, really trying to get people to just make more movies. I don't think you need to make one movie every 3 years or 4 years. I like our model of we shot 4 last year. We're going to release 4 this year. I think if filmmakers kind of see how much better you get with each movie and, how you kind of learn from these mistakes, I think that we'll see a lot more horror filmmakers that are really doing some cool stuff that's outside the norms of, the Hollywood remakes.
Yeah, definitely. We say it all the time. Like that's where all the originality is with the independent filmmakers. But yeah, so we agree 100%. So Ben, what about yourself? Where can people go to follow you?
Instagram, Facebook, X, Thread. I have something on everywhere. If you just Google me, pick one, send me a message if you want. I try and respond to every single person that takes the time to watch any of our films. It means the world to have an audience. It means the world, whether you love the movie, hate the movie, love me, hate me, love DBS, hate DBS. I don't care. The fact that you took the time to watch it and you gave us a chance, that's all that matters to me. Especially if you have constructive criticism. That's even better. Not just someone who hates everything.
Yeah. Somebody's like, I hate it. Why? I don't know. We didn't like it.
Yeah, like we get a lot of that and it's fine. But the most we share with each other are the ones that, 2 stars, here's why, 3 stars, here's why, because those are the ones that you learn from. Those are the ones that we really take it to heart. And we don't like, oh no, woe is me. We want to get better. Right. We always want to get better. And it doesn't matter whether you've been doing this for 6 months, 6 years, 60 years, you always want to get better.
Yeah.
You can always learn something from somebody, whether it's a novice or a pro. And that's what we want to do. We want to get better. Ideally, we want to make a lot of movies together. He's going to make a whole bunch. I like to be a part of some of them. And I can tell you from reading reviews from Girl in Cabin 13 to Forest of Death to Cold Grave to what I know it's coming, the reviews have gotten a lot better. And I think that's great. I'm so happy to be a part of it. Nice. And it's funny because we just started getting reviews for Attack of the Meth Gattor from the Asylum. And I'm like, wow, there's a company that's been around for a long time. It's had $1 million films. I got to do a big budget film with them, and it was very similar to being on a DBS set, and the reviews are very similar to a DBS film. But I think the reviews for A Cold Grave are actually a lot better. So it doesn't matter how long you've been doing. You can always learn from something. And the guy that directed Meth Gattor has won an Emmy. Brendan would probably never show up to the Emmys. I think he would politely say, no, I'm good. I don't want that shit.
Just have someone accept it for him.
I don't even think he would open his email if it came from me. And, I don't think he'd care.
Emmy Schmemmy. That would be his response to it. Just Emmy Schmemmy.
Yeah, and I got to be honest with you, that's kind of why I love working with DBS so much. I've done so much in my career. I've dabbled with Hollywood and big indies, and you just never. It's a one-time thing. It's a single-serving packet. It's airline food. You have it one time and you're done. But I wear my DBS hat. I wear my DBS jacket. We talk almost every day. It's different. And I'm proud to be a part of that. I'm proud to be here talking about it. I'm proud to have another film coming out with my bleach blonde hair.
Well, I'm proud to see it. How about that?
You're gonna like it. I can promise you guys are gonna like that one.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
There's
I'm
so
sure.
much murder, so
Positive
much violence and murder.
Okay. Tony, what about yourself? Where can people go to check out your stuff?
You can find me at
All your fingers.
You can find me at Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings, anything movie related on there. Tony Has Nine Fingers on X, which I never use, but of course it's in my spiel. Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, which is my main hub now, where I go on all the time. Anything movie related, showing off the collection, reviews, recommendations, whatever. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And of course, here on the Wicked Horror Show, whether it's talking to awesome guests or just horror movie talk. We're here pretty much most Tuesdays.
Yes.
And
sometimes things come up. But yeah.
Sometimes things come up. But the one thing I must say is, I think it's cool for, everybody to come in here. I know Life is Pain always comes in here to chat. That's why I always say come into the lives, because you can interact. I mean, it's awesome you guys listen to, but coming in, you get to see the trailer, you get to interact. I think, that's the best part.
Yeah, because the audio goes up a week after, and they only have to listen to the trailer. It's like, what are you doing? Come on. Just be here for the live show, you dingbat. A lot of them will go back after and watch the video too, but it's, whatever. Be here live. For myself, A Knuckle on Instagram, besides doing this show with the also lovely Tony Has Nine Fingers, I also do the Re-Education of Nancy Ann Ritter, where we sit down with the actress Nancy Ann Ritter, who was in the original Scream. She doesn't know anything about horror. She does a horror convention. She goes out with Tony Moran from the original Halloween, and she doesn't know anything about horror. So me and my friend Jeremy sit down and we educate her on iconic horror. And it's been fun. We episodes are kind of slowing down a little bit because she's been very busy, but they'll pick up soon. And I'm also part of that Strange Show, which the next season should be coming out soon. I hope. I think we're going to start recording soon. But other than that, thank you everyone for watching / listening. Thank you to our guests, and thank you for making another awesome movie. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye. 1 second, everybody. It's